Hello everyone, and welcome back to another brand new video. Today we're going to be going over the most recent episode of Pokemon Horizons. Today's episode focused pretty much entirely on Tinkatink, which is very good for her because she hasn't really had a major focus episode since her capture, so this was nice to see. So Liko, Roy, Dot, and Freed are on the way to Kitakami's crystal pool, and as they're going along this path up this mountain, they end up being pretty much immediately accosted by this wild bombardier. Now, I don't know if it's pronounced bombardier or bombardier, but I'm going to say bombardier because I think it makes the most sense, but if I need to be corrected, I'll make adjustments to that in the future. So anyway, this bombardier is basically just taunting the gang the entire episode, which does fit in line with its Pokédex entry in that it likes to steal things and drop them on the ground and make loud noises to startle people and other Pokemon, so that all makes sense. And while all this is happening, Tinkatink has found a piece of metal that I guess Bombardier has collected, and she is just desperately trying to work this piece of metal into her hammer. Now, something interesting is that Tinkatink's hammer is much larger in this episode. It's got a much longer end to it than it's ever had before, and I don't really understand why this is the case. I feel like this would have been nice to be, something that was built up upon across her multiple appearances, but it's pretty much that the hammer has been the same size the entire time, and now magically in this episode it's longer, so that was a bit weird to me. I thought we'd see it becoming longer, at least see a flashback of it growing. Maybe she's been working on it for some time, but they didn't really do that, so that was a bit disappointing. I feel like that would have been nice to see to explain why the hammer is just randomly longer in this episode. But anyway, most of the episode is basically just Tinkatink trying to get this piece of metal and Bombardier taking it back and Tinkatink just pursuing and going after it. And most of the episode again revolves around her having gotten separated from the gang, trying to get this piece of metal, and they're all just looking for her. So of course she does eventually come across Bombardier, and it tries to attack again, and Dot and Quaxwell do everything to try to save her, but they're all just struggling, and eventually this Bombardier terastallizes, which really threw me off guard because Horizons, for everything it's done, it really hasn't delved into that aspect that Pokemon can terastallize in the wild. We have only briefly heard it mentioned, but we really haven't seen that happen, so that was really interesting to see. I'm glad we saw that, but I kind of wish we'd seen it more before now, but again, better late than never. So after Bombardier terastallizes, another Bombardier just shows up, and now they're both attacking Dot and Quaxwell, and Quaxwell is trying to fight back, but he's being overwhelmed and overpowered. And it's kind of annoying because Dot really just has Quaxwell just spam water gun over and over when she's shown better battle competence earlier, so I don't really like that it's kind of just like for the plot that Quaxwell has to be less competent and being just utterly destroyed in this battle. All the while Tinkatink is just utterly doing the most to beat this piece of metal into forming a new hammer, which she is eventually able to do, though now it's so heavy that she struggles to lift it. But eventually she does gain the power to finally pick it up, and in doing so she is able to evolve into Tinkatink, and from there she and Quaxwell are able to defeat both Bombardier, and the day is saved. And that's pretty much how the episode ends, with Tinkatuff now showing off her brand new hammer, and the gang continuing to make their way forward. So this episode, in theory, was a good one. My only real issue with it was that I feel like Tinkatink hasn't done nearly as much over the plot to kind of justify it, and that was the same issue I really had with Washroll and Hatena's evolutions. I felt that they just came without as much development for them, which I know isn't really new, but I don't know, I really just felt this is an episode in particular with everything they did. I really felt they should have built up more upon it and shown off Tinkatink more, shown off her becoming more competent in battle and kind of less of a crybaby that she's been. It's just really like all in one episode, all that just goes away and now she's a competent battler and she can evolve. So that was really my issue. Again, I've said it before, I really just think one of the biggest flaws of Horizons, for everything that it's done so well, I think the biggest issue is that the secondary Pokemon of the main kids have not been getting as much focus as I think they deserved, especially before their evolutions. So that's pretty much just my main criticism. Again, I really did enjoy the episode. I just think the element of the fact that Tinkatink hasn't done much kind of just weakened it for me. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below. Tell me if you thought the episode was okay, if you thought you would like to see Tinkatink do more in the past, anything you like or feel. That's gonna be all for this video. There is one last thing I want to mention, which is that I actually do sell online courses focused on animation, and I've never really brought this up before because I didn't really want to include things that don't pertain to the video or make it seem like I'm trying to sell you anything. But since anyone out there could be interested in animation, I do want to let you guys know that this is something that I do, so I will put the links in my description for that website if it's something you want to check out. And for you guys, I'm going to be including a 50% discount code for all of my Sakura viewers. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thank you!